Hi everyone, Mr. Clark here, and we're back of course with Clark the Bear. Now, today we're going to be continuing reading The Adventures of the Wishing Chair. And guess what, kids? It's our last week of home learning. So, it is the last week of Mr. Clark's and Clark the Bear Storytime videos. But when we're back at school, we're going to continue reading The Adventures of the Wishing Chair. So I look forward to seeing you all next week. This chapter's called Mr. Twisty. One day when the two children and Chinky were in their playroom at the bottom of the garden, reading quietly, a knock sounded at the door. They looked up. A small man stood there, with his straw hat in his hand and a sly look on his face. "Have you anything old to sell?" he asked. "I buy old clothes, furniture, carpets, anything you like. I'll give you a good price too for it." "No, thank you," said Molly. "We couldn't sell anything unless our mother said so." "What about the old chair there?" said the man, pointing to the wishing chair. "It can't be wanted, or you wouldn't have it in your playroom. I like the look of that chair. I'll give you a good price for it." "Certainly not," said Peter. "Please go away, or I'll call the gardener." The little man put his straw hat, grinned at them, and went. Chinky looked uncomfortable. "I don't like the look of him," he said to the children. "He may make trouble for us. I think I'll pop out into the garden today. I don't like people seeing me here." So he hopped out and went to play with the fairy folk there in the garden. And a good thing that he did too, for in about 10 minutes Mother came down to the garden following by the little old man in a straw hat. And there's a picture, kids, of the old man looking into the playroom and, he wants to buy the wishing chair off them. "Are you there, Peter and Molly?" he said. "Oh, this man, Mr. Twisty, says he will buy anything old, and he saw an old chair where, here, he would like to buy it. I couldn't remember it. Which is it?" Poor Molly and Peter. They had kept the wishing chair a secret from their mother. And now the secret was out. They really didn't know what to say. Mother saw the chair and looked puzzled. "I don't remember that chair at all," she said. "I'll give you £2 for it, Mr. Twisty. Tisn't it worth it? But I'll take it for that." "That seems a lot of money for a playroom chair," said Mother. "We'll fetch it tonight, and you can have it." "Oh, Mother, Mother," shrieked the two children in despair. "You don't understand. It's our own chair. Very own chair. We love it. It's a very precious sort of chair to us." "Whatever do you mean?" said Mother in surprise. "It doesn't look that precious at all to me." Well, Molly and Peter knew quite well that they couldn't say it was a wishing chair and grew wings. It would be taken away from them at once and then put into a museum or something. Whatever were they to do? £2 for that dirty old chair," said Mr. Twisty, looking slyly at the mother. "I'll send for it tonight," said Mr. Twisty, and he bowed and went off back through the garden path. "Don't look so upset, silly Billies," said Mother. "I'll buy you a nice comfy wicker chair instead." Molly and Peter said nothing. Molly burst into tears as soon as Mother had gone. "It's too bad," she said. "It's our own wishing chair, and that horrible Mr. Twisty is buying it for £2. Chinky came in, and they told him what had happened. He grinned at them, put his arm around Molly. "Don't cry," he said. "I've got a good plan." "What?" asked Molly. "I can get Mr. Nobbles, the pixie carpenter who lives out in the field over there, to make me a chair exactly like the wishing chair," said Chinky. "We'll let Mr. Twisty have that one, not ours. He won't know the difference. He doesn't know ours is a wishing chair. He just thinks it's an old, invaluable chair. Well, he can buy one just like it, without the magic in it." "Oh," said Molly and Peter, pleased. "Can you really get one made in time?" "I think so," said Chinky. "Come along with me and see." So they squeezed under the hedge at the bottom of the garden and crossed the field beyond to where a big oak tree stood. Chinky pulled a root aside that struck out above the ground, and under it was a trap door. "You simply never know where to find the little folk where they live," said Molly excitedly. Chinky rapped on the door. It flew up, and bald-headed Pixie with enormous ears popped out, and his head popped out of the ground. Chinky explained what he wanted, and the Pixie invited them into his little workshop underground. It was a dear little place, scattered with small tables, chairs, and stools that the carpenter had been making. "Do you think you could make us the chair in time?" asked Molly eagerly. "Well, if I could get a quick spell, I could," said the pixie. "A quick spell makes you work 3 times as fast as usual, you know, but they are very expensive." "Oh," said Molly and Peter in dismay. "Well, we've hardly any money." "Wait," said Chinky, grinning at them with his wicked little way. "Remember that Mr. Twisty is paying £2 for the chair. Can you make the chair and buy the quick spell for £2, Mr. Nobbles?" Mr. Nobbles worked out the sum on a bit of paper and said he just could do so. He came back to the playroom with the children and saw their own chair. He nodded his head and said he could easily make one just the same. The children were so pleased. They hugged Chinky and said he was the cleverest person they had ever known. He always knew how to get them out of anything difficult. "Now we'd better hide our own chair," said Chinky. "Where shall we put it?" "In the gardener's shed," said Molly. "Gardeners will be gone at 5. We'll put it in there." So they did, and covered it up with sacks. Just as they came back from the shed, they met Mr. Nobbles carrying one of his back of a new chair, just exactly like their old one. It was marvellous. "This quick spell worked quickly," he said. "Here's the chair. You can bring me money at any time." There's a picture of the bald goblin bringing back the new chair for Peter and Molly. Why? The wishing chair is hiding in the gardener's shed. The children thanked him and put the chair in their playroom. Then they waited for Mr. Twisty. He turned up for it at 6:30, his straw hat in his hands and the usual wide smile on his sly face. "Ah, there's the chair," he said. "Here's the money, thank you very much." He took the chair on his back, paid over the money, and went whistling a tune. "Well, he's got a marvellous pixie chair for his money," said Chinky, "but he hasn't got a wishing chair. He can sell that chair for £20, I think, for Mr. Nobbles has made it beautiful. Hasn't used a single nail, stuck everything with magic glue." "And we've got our own dear chair still," cried the 2 children and sat down in for joy. Just then Mother popped her head in and saw the chair. Chinky only just had time to hide himself behind the sofa. "Why," she said, "the chair isn't sold after all. I'm quite glad, because it really is a pretty chair. I can't imagine how I came to let you have it in your playroom. I think I will have it in my own house." "Bring it up with you tonight, Peter." Mother went away. Chinky popped out from his hiding place and looked at the others in dismay. "I say," he said, "that's very bad news. We'll have to do as you are told, Peter. Take the chair up to the house with you when you go tonight, and we'll try and think of some way out of this new fix. Oh dear, why can't we have our own chair to ourselves?" So Peter took it up the house with him, and Mother put it up into the study. Suppose it grew wings there, whatever would happen. And that is the end of that chapter, and quite a different chapter that was. Someone was trying to buy the wishing chair off the children. Now, Clark the Bear and I will be back tomorrow for another chapter of the Adventures of the Wishing Chair. Bye, everyone.